The stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, calm and silent. Lyra sat quietly, watching the galaxy drift past. The humans around her moved with their usual energy and confidence. Pilots preparing ships, engineers checking systems, navigators adjusting routes. But this time, she did not feel like a mere observer. She felt part of something larger, part of a team that valued courage, trust, and cooperation. Her mind wandered back to her home system. The Illyrians had finally accepted her decision to leave, but not fully. Many still looked at humans with suspicion, calling them monsters as they always had. Lyra understood their fear, but she also understood something they did not. Humans were different. They were not perfect. They made mistakes, but their strength was not in perfection. It was in their courage, their loyalty, and their willingness to act even when danger was near. Elias approached and gave her a gentle smile. "You have grown a lot, Lyra," he said. "You survived the void, faced the nebula, helped fight pirates, and now you've seen your people. You've learned what true strength is." Lyra nodded. "I understand now. Humans, they are not monsters. They are heroes. And I want to be like them." Elias's smile widened. "Then you already are. You have courage, intelligence, and a willingness to act. That makes you part of us." The ship continued through space, moving toward a neutral station far from Lyra's home system. Humans had agreed to take her there to rest, recover, and prepare for the next stage of her journey. Lyra felt a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness. She was leaving her people, stepping into a new world guided by humans and embracing a path she had never imagined. On the ship, she observed humans working together seamlessly. Mara, the engineer, repaired a damaged shield generator with tools Lyra could barely understand. Jalen, the navigator, coordinated with pilots to plot an efficient course through a cluster of asteroids. Each human moved with confidence, yet each action was careful and deliberate. They were not reckless, they were bold, intelligent, and brave. Lyra realized that humans thrived because they trusted each other. They acted without hesitation, but always with purpose. That was a lesson she had never learned from her own people, who valued rules and protocol above courage or teamwork. As the days passed, Lyra trained with the humans. She learned basic piloting skills, navigation techniques, and engineering procedures. Each lesson was challenging, but she found herself growing stronger and more confident. Humans encouraged her to try, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. They never scolded her or made her feel weak. They trusted her. One evening, Lyra joined Elias and Mara in the observation room. Stars twinkled against the black void, and the ship moved quietly, almost peacefully. "Do you ever wonder why humans are so different?" Lyra asked softly. Elias leaned back, thoughtful. "We survive because we must. The universe is dangerous, unpredictable. We cannot rely only on strength or rules. We rely on courage, intelligence, and each other. That is what makes us strong." Lyra nodded, absorbing his words. She thought of the nebula, the pirates, and her own fleet. She realized that her survival had depended not only on the human strength, but on their willingness to act for the sake of others. That was a kind of strength she had never seen before. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the screen. A small distress signal was coming from a nearby system. Another ship was in trouble. Without hesitation, the human crew sprang into action. Pilots prepared for launch, engineers checked systems, and navigators recalculated courses. Lyra felt her pulse quicken. She had a choice: stay safe on the ship or join them in helping another in danger. "I want to help," she said, standing. Elias nodded. "Good. We will guide you. Remember what you've learned. Trust your instincts, act with courage, and work with the team." Lyra joined the team, moving quickly to assist. Her training paid off. She adjusted shields, monitored sensors, and helped coordinate the human pilots. Together, they reached the distressed ship. A small transport caught in a field of dangerous debris. The humans acted swiftly. Mara piloted a rescue craft through the debris, while Jalen directed the transport to safety. Lyra monitored the shields and helped adjust power flow to stabilize the ship. Sparks flew, alarms rang, and the debris shifted unpredictably, but the humans worked together seamlessly. Lyra followed their lead, trusting her instincts and the lessons they had taught her. Finally, the transport was safe. The crew on board cheered, and the human team smiled with quiet satisfaction. Lyra felt a deep sense of pride and belonging. She had helped save lives. She had acted with courage, intelligence, and teamwork, the same values humans held dear. After the rescue, the ship returned to the neutral station. Lyra felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. She realized she had come a long way, from a stranded pilot abandoned in the void to an active, capable member of a human team. At the station, Lyra reflected on her journey. She thought of her people, the ones who had left her behind. She thought of the void, the nebula, and the dangers she had faced. And she thought of humans, the beings she had once feared, who had taught her the true meaning of strength. Elias approached her quietly. "You have a choice now," he said. "You can continue with humans exploring the galaxy and learning, or you can return to your people." "The decision is yours," Lyra thought carefully. She remembered the void, the fear, and the abandonment. She remembered the courage, loyalty, and bravery of the humans who had saved her. The choice was clear. "I want to continue with humans," she said firmly. "I want to learn, explore, and grow. I want to act with courage, not fear. I want to be part of something greater." Elias smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Then you have made the right choice. Welcome to the team." Lyra felt a surge of excitement and hope. She was leaving behind her past, her fears, and the limitations her people had placed on her. She was embracing a new future, a future guided by courage, trust, and the human spirit. Over the next weeks, Lyra traveled with the humans to distant systems. She helped rescue stranded ships, explore uncharted space, and assist civilizations in need. Each mission tested her skills, courage, and teamwork. Each mission reinforced the lessons she had learned. Courage is more important than fear. Teamwork is stronger than rules. And loyalty and care can make ordinary beings into heroes. Lyra also shared her knowledge of her people with humans, teaching them about alien technology, star maps, and cultural customs. The humans listened attentively, asking questions and learning quickly. She realized that humans were not only brave and strong, they were curious, eager to learn and willing to respect others. One evening, while sitting on the observation deck, Lyra watched the stars and reflected on her journey. She had been abandoned, left to die, and betrayed by her own people. Yet she had survived not alone, but with humans. She had learned courage, teamwork, and trust. She had discovered a strength she never knew she had. She smiled faintly. The universe was vast and full of dangers, but it was also full of possibilities. With humans by her side, she could face anything. She could explore, help, and inspire. She could live a life she had never imagined, guided by courage and the human spirit. Elias joined her quietly. "You have come far, Lyra," he said. "The universe is wide and our journey has only begun. But remember this, you carry the lessons you've learned with you. Courage, trust, and loyalty are stronger than fear. That is the human legacy." Lyra nodded. "I understand, and I will carry it with me always." The ship moved steadily through the stars, carrying Lyra and the humans toward new adventures. The void that had once threatened her life was now a place of opportunity. She had survived, learned, and grown, and she knew that wherever the galaxy took her, she would act with courage, intelligence, and loyalty, the values humans had shown her. Lyra looked out at the stars one last time that evening, thinking of the journey she had taken. She remembered the fear of abandonment, the darkness of the void, the dangers of the nebula, and the battle with pirates. But most of all, she remembered the humans who had saved her, taught her, and trusted her. They were not monsters. They were heroes, and Lyra had become one of them. For the first time, she felt truly free. She had a future filled with possibility, courage, and hope. She had learned that survival was not just about strength or skill. It was about bravery, teamwork, and trust. It was about acting for something greater than oneself. And as the ship glided through the endless stars, Lyra smiled. She was no longer just a survivor. She was part of a legacy of humans, of courage, and of hope that could inspire the galaxy itself. The universe was vast, uncertain, and full of challenges. But Lyra knew one thing. With humans by her side, she could face anything. She had been left to die in the void, but she had risen stronger, braver, and wiser than she had ever imagined. Her journey was just beginning, and the stars awaited. Lyra woke to the soft hum of the human ship. The bright medical lights had been dimmed, leaving a calm glow that warmed her small cabin. Her body felt stiff and sore from the escape pod, but the humans had made sure she was safe. For the first time in days, she felt comfortable, almost at peace. When the hatch opened, a human appeared. He had short, dark hair, and his uniform was simple but clean. His eyes held a kind of focus Lyra had never seen in her own people. "You're awake," he said. His voice was calm, almost patient. Lyra nodded, not knowing what else to say. She watched him as he moved around her room, checking monitors and writing notes on a small device. Everything about him seemed precise and deliberate. She had never seen a people so confident in their own actions, yet gentle at the same time. "I am Elias," he said. "I will help you." Lyra had heard of human names before, but she had never met a human. The stories painted them as dangerous and unpredictable. "But Elias," he seemed honest. There was no hint of malice in his eyes. Elias motioned for her to follow. Hesitant at first, Lyra rose and stepped out of the cabin. The corridors of the ship were wide, with bright lights and smooth floors. Humans moved around her, speaking to each other in a language she could not understand. Yet she noticed their teamwork. One human would lift a heavy object while another guided it. They seemed to understand each other without words at times, moving in perfect coordination. Lyra had never seen anything like it. Her own people were skilled and efficient, yes, but their methods were rigid. They followed rules, procedures, and hierarchies without question. The humans adapted. They solved problems quickly, boldly, and sometimes even creatively. Elias led her to a small observation room. The walls were lined with screens showing star maps and ship systems. Lyra peered out the large viewport. Stars streaked past as the ship moved steadily through space. She felt both awe and fear. This was so different from her fleet's structured formations. Humans did not hide from the void. They embraced it. "You are far from home," Elias said, noticing her gaze. Lyra swallowed. "My fleet." "They left me," Elias nodded. "Sometimes those we trust fail us. That does not mean we are weak. It means we need others." Lyra stared at him. His words were strange, yet comforting. Her people had always taught her that survival was about strength alone. Trust was dangerous. But these humans, they trusted each other, and now they had trusted her. Over the next hours, Lyra observed more of the humans. She watched them repair systems mid-flight, even in the middle of a minor solar storm. Sparks flew, alarms rang, and yet they moved with calm precision. One human engineer lifted a heavy panel, securing it in place while another adjusted the engines. Lyra could hardly believe it. They were physically strong, yes, but also intelligent and quick-thinking. She wanted to speak, to understand how they worked together so seamlessly, but she struggled with their language. Instead, she observed, learned, and copied. Slowly, she began to understand small gestures and expressions. A nod meant agreement. A hand extended meant help. The humans communicated more with action than words, and every action showed courage and care. That night, Lyra lay in her cabin, staring at the ceiling. She thought about her people. They would see her survival as weakness. They would not understand the humans who had saved her. She wondered if she would ever feel at home among her own kind again. The next morning, Elias returned. "We are heading to your system," he said. "You will have a choice when we arrive." Lyra frowned. "Choice?" Elias nodded. "You can return to your fleet or you can come with us. We do not force anyone." Lyra's heart skipped a beat. She had never been offered a choice like this. Her fleet had dictated her every action, leaving no room for thought or feeling. These humans, they respected her will. Over the next days, Lyra learned more about the humans. They trained together, ate together, and shared stories. One human, a pilot named Mara, told of their journeys across galaxies, of battles fought and lives saved. Another, a navigator named Jalen, spoke of dangerous routes through asteroid fields and how humans survived when others would have failed. Lyra listened, fascinated. Humans were not perfect. They made mistakes, argued, and sometimes failed. But they never gave up. They learned from mistakes, helped each other, and never left anyone behind. She began to understand why other civilizations feared them. Humans were unpredictable. They acted boldly, sometimes recklessly, but always with purpose. They were strong, not because of rules or technology alone, but because of their courage, their loyalty, and their ability to adapt. One day, while observing the ship's systems, Lyra saw a small alarm flash. A minor malfunction in the engine room. She froze, unsure what to do. Elias noticed immediately and approached. "Do you want to try?" he asked. Lyra hesitated. I don't know your systems," Elias smiled. "We can teach. You will learn faster if you try." With careful guidance, Lyra followed his instructions. She adjusted valves, checked circuits, and recalibrated sensors. The humans watched patiently, offering tips when needed. When the alarm finally stopped, she felt a surge of pride. She had helped fix a human ship. "You did well," Elias said. "You see? Strength is not just muscle or skill. It is courage, focus, and willingness to act." Lyra realized he was right. She had survived the void because of courage, yes, but also because of trust. Trust in humans who risked their lives for her. She had always believed that survival was about being alone, about relying only on herself. The humans had taught her something new. Later, while looking out the viewport, Lyra noticed a small fleet moving in the distance. Her people's ships were approaching. Anxiety rose in her chest. They would demand her return. They might punish her. They might take her away from these humans. Elias came to her side. "Your people are far, but they will reach you. You must decide what you value most." Lyra took a deep breath. She thought of the humans who had saved her, who had treated her with respect and care. She thought of her fleet, who had abandoned her, who had never believed she was worthy. Her choice felt clear. Before her mind could wander further, an alert flashed on the screens. Space pirates had been detected near their route. Humans, she realized, did not wait for threats to grow. They acted immediately. The humans moved quickly. Pilots ran to their ships, engineers adjusted shields, and navigators calculated the fastest course. Lyra watched, amazed. They were bold, fearless, and efficient. She wanted to help, but she still did not know how. A small emergency erupted when one of the engines started sparking violently. Without thinking, Lyra rushed to help. She remembered the adjustments Elias had taught her. With trembling hands, she worked to stabilize the engine. Sparks flew and her chest pounded with fear, but the humans guided her calmly, helping her stay focused. The engine stabilized. The humans cheered quietly, a soft smile from Elias acknowledging her effort. Lyra felt something she had never felt before: belonging. For the first time, she was not alone. She was part of a team that valued her, trusted her, and believed in her courage. The battle with the pirates would be dangerous, she knew. But she no longer felt fear alone. She had humans beside her, guiding her, trusting her, and protecting her. As the ship moved forward, Lyra realized something important. Humans were not perfect. They were unpredictable and sometimes reckless. But they were brave. They were loyal. They were willing to act when all seemed lost, and that was something worth believing in. Lyra looked out at the stars, thinking of the void that had once threatened to end her life. She had been abandoned, left to die, but she had survived, not because of her people, but because of humans. Monsters, others called them. But to her, they were heroes. For the first time, Lyra felt hope, not just for survival, but for the future. She had a choice now, and she would not waste it. The journey ahead would be dangerous. Her people were waiting. The pirates were coming. But she was not alone. She had humans. She had courage. And she had hope. And that, Lyra knew, was more powerful than any weapon, any fleet, or any rule her people had ever taught her. The human ship approached Lyra's home system slowly, cautiously. Stars glimmered brightly in the distance, but Lyra barely noticed. Her heart pounded with anxiety and fear. Her people's fleet was waiting. They had always been strong, rigid, and proud. But they had abandoned her. And now the humans, the ones her culture had called monsters, were carrying her back safely. Lyra stood near the viewport, watching planets drift past. The largest planet in the system, her homeworld, glowed blue and green, covered in swirling clouds. It looked peaceful from space, but she knew the people on that planet would not welcome her easily. Elias came beside her. "Your people may question your return," he said quietly. "We need to be prepared for that. But remember, you are not alone." Lyra nodded, gripping the railing. Her mind raced with memories of being left behind in the void, the cold and silence, the fear of dying alone. She had survived because of humans, because of their courage, skill, and loyalty. And now she had to face her own people who had betrayed her. The human ship entered orbit around the capital planet. Her people's ships were stationed there, large and gleaming. At first they did not move. Then a few ships broke formation and approached. Lyra recognized the high-ranking officers from the fleet, the same ones who had abandoned her. Elias led her to a meeting chamber inside the ship. Through the large viewports, the Illyrian leaders could be seen in their ships, communicating with the humans. Lyra felt tension rise. She had never felt so vulnerable, yet so determined. When the hatches opened, the human team remained calm. Elias stepped forward, presenting Lyra to the Illyrian leaders. Lyra's chest tightened as she saw their expressions. Shock, disbelief, and anger were clear. "You survived?" one officer demanded. "You were left to die." Lyra met his gaze. "Yes," she said steadily. "I survived. Because these humans saved me." The leader's eyes flickered to the humans, surprise mixed with caution. They had heard stories of humans before, stories of courage, strength, and unpredictability. But seeing them in person was different. "They are monsters," the officer said, almost in disbelief. "How can we trust them?" Elias smiled faintly. "We do not ask for blind trust. We act with courage, intelligence, and teamwork. Lyra's survival proves what we value, helping each other when it matters most." Lyra's people whispered among themselves. Some looked away, ashamed. Others seemed angry that humans could succeed where their fleet had failed. Lyra felt both fear and defiance rise inside her. She would not cower. She had survived the void. She had faced dangers humans had faced, and she had learned a new kind of strength. A tense silence filled the chamber. Then, one of the Illyrian leaders, a woman with a stern expression, stepped forward. "Lyra, why should we believe this? Why should we allow these humans in our space? They are unpredictable, dangerous, and unlike anything we know." Elias stepped forward, his posture calm and confident. "We are here to return Lyra safely. We have faced dangers together, pirates, radiation, and the void itself. We act with purpose, intelligence, and courage. If you wish to test us, you may, but know this: we do not retreat, and we do not abandon those in need." Lyra watched the exchange quietly. She realized something important. Humans did not boast, threaten, or demand. They acted with integrity, calm confidence, and unwavering courage. That was their strength. Her own people, however, seemed unsure. Some argued loudly, questioning her loyalty. Others hesitated, aware that humans had proven themselves. The tension in the room was thick. Lyra took a step forward. "I do not need your permission to live," she said firmly. "I survived the void because I acted, and because these humans acted to save me. You left me behind. They did not. That is why I trust them." A few of the leaders stiffened, clearly angry at her words, but others seemed to understand. The contrast between humans and her own fleet was clear. Humans had shown bravery, intelligence, and care. Her people had shown rules, pride, and abandonment. Suddenly, one of the officers demanded, "You will not leave with them. You belong to us." Lyra's heart raced, but she did not falter. Elias stepped in calmly. "We are not here to fight, but we will protect those who need help. Lyra has chosen to come with us. Any aggression against her or us will be met with decisive action." The standoff was tense. Humans remained composed, unthreatened by the hostility. Lyra realized that their strength was not in weapons or ships alone, but in their confidence, intelligence, and willingness to act with courage. A sudden alert interrupted the moment. Sensors detected a fleet of smaller ships approaching, rogue forces hoping to exploit the tension. Humans acted instantly. Pilots prepared their crafts, shields strengthened, and engineers adjusted power systems. Lyra felt a thrill and a new understanding. Humans did not wait for danger to grow. They acted immediately, using skill, courage, and teamwork to face any challenge. Lyra was given a task: to monitor communications and relay information to the human pilots. At first she hesitated. The systems were strange, the language difficult. But with guidance from Elias and Mara, she quickly learned to track enemy movements and send vital data. The small fleet attacked. Lasers flashed through space, shields hummed, and explosions lit the dark. Lyra's hands moved with purpose, relaying critical information. She realized she was not just a passenger, she was part of the team. Humans trusted her. They believed in her ability to act under pressure. The battle was short but intense. The rogue fleet, seeing the humans' coordination and Lyra's timely assistance, withdrew. Humans and Lyra had worked together seamlessly. The chamber filled with quiet sighs of relief and nods of approval. Lyra felt a deep sense of pride. After the battle, the humans and Lyra addressed the Illyrian leaders again. Elias spoke calmly but firmly. "You see now what we are capable of. We do not act out of fear or arrogance. We act with courage, intelligence, and loyalty. Lyra has survived because of those values. She has learned from us, and she has proven herself capable." Lyra stepped forward. "I will not go back to those who abandoned me. I trust these humans. They have shown me what true strength and courage mean. You may not understand, but that does not change the truth." Some of the leaders looked away, ashamed. Others were silent, unsure what to say. The humans remained calm, their presence steady and confident. Lyra realized this was the true power of humans, their ability to act with courage, adapt to any situation, and inspire respect without demanding it. Finally, a compromise was reached. The Illyrian leaders would allow Lyra to leave with the humans, but some ships would accompany them until they were safely out of the system. It was a reluctant acknowledgement, but it was enough. Lyra felt a surge of relief and gratitude. She had survived the void, learned the ways of humans, and now had the freedom to choose her own path. Her people had been given a lesson in humility, courage, and the true meaning of strength. As the human ship prepared to depart, Lyra looked at the stars. She thought of the void that had nearly claimed her life, the nebula that had tested her courage, and the humans who had risked everything to save her. Her journey was far from over. Dangers awaited in the galaxy, pirates, rival civilizations, and the unknown challenges of deep space. But Lyra no longer felt fear alone. She had humans beside her, teaching her, guiding her, and trusting her. And that, she realized, was more powerful than any fleet, any weapon, or any rule her people could impose. Lyra smiled faintly. She had been abandoned, left to die, and betrayed by her own people, but she had found something far more valuable: courage, trust, and the extraordinary strength of humans. For the first time in her life, she felt that the universe, with all its dangers and mysteries, was not something to fear, but something to explore. With humans by her side, she could face anything. The ship lifted off from the capital planet, leaving the rigid Illyrian fleet behind. Lyra felt the weight of the past lift slightly. She had survived betrayal, learned new strengths, and discovered what it truly meant to act with courage. The humans, the monsters the galaxy feared, had become her heroes, and Lyra knew that wherever the stars led them next, she would never forget the lessons they had taught her. The human ship moved steadily through space, gliding past stars and glowing clouds of distant nebulae. Lyra watched from the viewport, her eyes tracing the patterns of colored gas that twisted like smoke in the void. The nebula ahead was beautiful, yet dangerous. Radiation levels there could destroy a ship in minutes, yet humans did not hesitate. They seemed fearless, calm, and determined. Lyra felt a mix of fear and admiration. Her people would never have entered the nebula without full calculations, shields, and fleets surrounding them. Humans relied on courage, quick thinking, and teamwork instead of rigid rules. And somehow it worked. Elias came to stand beside her. "We need to pass through it," he said simply. "It is the fastest route to your system. You may not have another chance," Lyra nodded slowly. I understand. But it is dangerous," Elias smiled faintly. "All worthwhile journeys are." The ship's corridors buzzed with activity. Humans moved in coordinated chaos. Pilots running to their ships, engineers adjusting shields, navigators recalculating paths. Sparks flew in the engine room as adjustments were made to handle the nebula's radiation. Lyra followed, trying to understand. Every human seemed to know exactly what to do, yet they did not need rigid instructions. They acted, adapted, and communicated with brief words, gestures, and shared glances. Lyra found herself in the engine room, watching a human engineer named Mara. Mara lifted a heavy panel, exposing a tangle of wires and conduits. Sparks flew dangerously close to the floor. Mara did not hesitate. With one swift motion, she connected the wires, adjusting the power flow. The alarm stopped. Mara wiped her brow and nodded to Lyra. "You can try," she said. Lyra hesitated. Her hands shook. She had never worked on human technology before, and she feared she might make a mistake. But she remembered Elias's words: courage, focus, and willingness to act. Taking a deep breath, she moved closer. Following Mara's instructions carefully, she adjusted the panels, connected wires, and stabilized the power flow. The alarm stopped completely. Mara clapped her lightly on the shoulder. "Good work," she said. Lyra felt pride. She had helped humans stabilize their ship in dangerous space. For the first time, she realized that survival was not only about strength or skill, but about courage and cooperation. Humans had both in abundance. Hours passed, and the ship approached the edge of the nebula. The view was mesmerizing. Glowing gases swirled in colors Lyra had never seen, reds and purples mixed with soft blues. Yet beneath the beauty lay danger. Radiation readings spiked intermittently, sending alerts through the ship. "Brace for turbulence," Elias said, his voice steady. "Hold on and follow instructions." Lyra gripped the railing, her body tense. The ship lurched as it entered the nebula, shaking violently. Sparks erupted from the walls and alarms blared. But humans moved with calm determination. Pilots adjusted thrusters. Engineers reinforced shields and navigators recalculated their course in real time. Lyra felt a strange thrill. Her fear had not disappeared, but it had changed. She was learning to act under pressure, to think quickly, to trust herself as much as she trusted the humans beside her. Suddenly, the ship jolted violently. The hull shuddered as if it had hit an invisible wall. Alarms screamed. Lyra's heart raced. "Radiation spike." "Shields failing!" Mara shouted. Humans rushed into action. Lyra followed instructions, adjusting control panels and recalibrating power flow. Sparks flew and the lights flickered, but she kept going. Humans shouted brief commands, pointing, moving, and guiding her with calm urgency. The radiation spike passed. The hull stabilized. Lyra exhaled, her chest heaving. She had survived. And more than that, she had helped the humans survive. "You did well," Elias said, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You are stronger than you think." Lyra smiled faintly. I feel different. Brave somehow. "I want to help," Elias nodded. "You already have. Courage grows when we act, even in fear." The ship continued through the nebula, each moment a test of skill and trust. Lyra saw humans saving each other repeatedly. A navigator nearly slipped in a corridor, but another human caught him. A panel exploded near an engineer, but teammates shielded him instantly. There was no hesitation, no panic, only action and care. Lyra's mind was opening to new ideas. Her people valued rules, strength, and perfection. Humans valued courage, adaptability, and loyalty. The differences fascinated her. She realized humans were not perfect, but they were strong in ways her people could not understand. Suddenly, a warning flashed across the screen. A pirate vessel had detected them. Lyra's heart jumped. Space pirates were dangerous, attacking without warning and taking what they wanted. The humans reacted immediately. Pilots rushed to their stations, engines powered up and shields strengthened. Lyra felt fear rising, but also determination. She wanted to act. Elias noticed her stance and nodded. "Stay with me. You can help." She followed him to the control panel, monitoring power flows and shield integrity. The pirate ship appeared on the view screen, a sleek, fast vessel with dark hulls and glowing weapons. The humans did not hesitate. They acted with strategy and coordination. Lyra watched as the battle unfolded. Humans were bold, moving closer to avoid the pirates' weapons, using clever maneuvers instead of brute force. One human pilot, Mara, swooped in, disabling a pirate engine with precision shots. Another engineer, Jalen, rerouted power to the shields just in time to block a deadly blast. Lyra realized something important. Humans did not wait for perfect plans. They acted, adapted, and trusted each other. And somehow it worked. During the chaos, Lyra saw an opportunity. A small control panel was exposed, and she could redirect power to strengthen the shields. Hands trembling, she followed instructions from Elias. The power flow adjusted and the ship's shield surged, deflecting a blast that would have torn through the hull. "You did it," Elias shouted over the alarms. Lyra felt a thrill she had never known. She had helped save the ship. She had acted under pressure, trusted her instincts, and made a difference. The pirate ship, seeing the human skill and coordination, retreated. The danger passed. Lyra's chest heaved as adrenaline faded. Around her, humans were smiling, patting each other on the back, quietly celebrating their teamwork. Lyra felt included in that celebration. For the first time, she felt part of something bigger than herself. Later, in the quiet observation room, Lyra looked at the stars. The nebula was behind them now, glowing faintly in the distance. She realized how far she had come in just a few days. She had survived the void, been rescued by humans, learned to trust them, and even acted to save the ship. Elias joined her quietly. "You did well today," he said. "You see now why humans are different. We survive together. We act even when afraid. That is strength," Lyra nodded. She had learned more than she had ever expected. Humans were not monsters. They were brave, loyal, and capable of amazing things. Their strength was not just physical, it was moral, emotional, and clever. She thought about her people again. They had abandoned her, leaving her to die in the void. Yet these humans, whom she had feared, had saved her and taught her lessons she could never have learned alone. She felt a mixture of sadness and gratitude. Her past could not be changed, but her future was in her hands. The journey ahead would be dangerous. The nebula had tested them, and more challenges would come. But Lyra no longer felt fear alone. She had humans beside her, guiding her, trusting her, and protecting her. And that, she realized, was more powerful than any rules, any fleet, or any weapon her people could offer. Lyra smiled faintly, a new determination rising inside her. She would not just survive, she would act, learn, and grow. She would become someone her people might never have imagined, and she would remember the humans, the monsters the galaxy feared, who had shown her what true courage and strength could be. For Lyra, the void was no longer a prison. It was a place of learning, courage, and discovery, and with humans beside her, she felt she could face anything the universe might throw her way. The galaxy was watching. Stories of humanity's courage and intelligence had spread far and wide, reaching systems that had never even seen humans before. Yet for every voice praising humans, there were others planning to challenge them. The Zelthari, humiliated by their earlier failures, were preparing their most massive assault ever. Commander Rhea Kalden stood on the bridge of the Vigilant Horizon, studying the fleet formations on the star map. The alien fleet was enormous, far larger than anything humanity had faced before. Thousands of ships, heavily armed and coordinated with precision, were moving toward the heart of human space. "They've learned from their mistakes," Lieutenant Miro Velas said, scanning sensor data. "Every move they make is designed to trap us. They will not be easy to stop this time." Rhea's gaze did not waver, nor will we yield. Humanity has learned too. Every colony, every fleet, every mind is ready. They may bring numbers and firepower, but we bring unity, intelligence, and courage. That will win this battle. The first wave of the Zelthari assault hit the outermost human systems. Their weapons cut through empty space with deadly precision, targeting trade routes, research stations, and defensive outposts. But humanity was ready. Automated defenses launched from hidden satellites, intercepting missiles and energy blasts. Human fighters swarmed from camouflaged bays, using speed and agility to strike the aliens' weakest points. Colonel Duran Voss, leading one of the defense fleets, relayed orders with calm authority. Divide their forces. Force them to respond to multiple threats at once. Do not fight blindly, use strategy. Every move counts. The humans' intelligence systems were already predicting alien maneuvers. Every strike, every formation, every possible response was analyzed in real time. The Zelthari believed they could overwhelm humanity with numbers and firepower, but the humans had studied them, learned from them, and prepared countermeasures for every known tactic. From the bridge of the Vigilant Horizon, Rhea directed the fleet. "We strike where they least expect. Use every asteroid field, every moon, every shadow to our advantage. Make them think they are in control, then turn it against them." The main battle began near the neutral star system of Caridon 9, chosen because of its dense asteroid fields and natural obstacles. The Zelthari flagship led the assault, flanked by hundreds of heavily armed ships. Their confidence was high. They believed their superior technology and numbers would crush the humans quickly. But the humans had set a trap. Small strike teams hid in asteroid belts, waiting for the right moment. Automated drones were ready to jam alien sensors and disrupt their energy systems. Human fighters flew in unpredictable patterns, creating chaos among the Zelthari ranks. Lieutenant Lyra Kyle led one of the strike teams. She moved with precision, dodging enemy fire while guiding drones to disable weapon systems on alien ships. "Stay focused," she called. "We are not reckless. Every move counts. Remember, we fight as one. They cannot defeat us if we remain united." The Zelthari flagship fired relentlessly, trying to break human lines. But every human maneuver was calculated. Energy shields absorbed blasts, countermeasures redirected missiles, and AI-guided systems predicted enemy movements. The aliens' confidence began to waver. General Theros, commanding from another part of the fleet, shouted orders to regain control. "Push forward! Do not let them outmaneuver us. Show them the strength of the Zelthari." But the humans anticipated this. Rhea had studied Zelthari tactics for months. She knew their reliance on coordination could be turned against them. Human strike teams guided alien ships into narrow asteroid corridors, where their larger vessels became liabilities. Mines disguised as debris damaged engines, and energy pulses disabled weapon systems. From the vigilant horizon, Rhea gave calm orders. Do not destroy unnecessarily. Disable, confuse, and control. We want them to learn the same lesson they learned before. Humans are not defeated by strength alone. The Zeltari began to panic. Their fleet, once confident, was now fragmented. Ships struggled to maintain formation, engines sputtered, and communications were disrupted. They were fighting not just against humans, but against human intelligence and adaptability. Colonel Joran Voss observed the battle. They cannot respond to every move. They underestimated us again. This is the moment we turn the tide. Human forces moved decisively. Capital ships targeted command vessels, not to destroy but to disable critical systems. Fighter squadrons struck from unexpected directions, overwhelming alien defenses. Automated drones disrupted energy flow, leaving Zeltari ships vulnerable to precise attacks. The Zeltari flagship, once a symbol of power, now faced coordinated human strikes from every side. Systems failed, weapons misfired, and alien officers shouted in frustration. For the first time, the mighty fleet was on the defensive, reacting rather than controlling the battle. Rhea broadcast a message across the battlefield, not as a threat but as a declaration. You may have numbers, but we have unity. You may have weapons, but we have intelligence. You may think yourself strong, but humanity adapts, learns, and overcomes. This is the power of a united species. This is the strength of humanity. The message reached every Zeltari ship, every pilot, every officer. Confidence cracked into doubt. Pride was replaced by caution. And fear, though quiet, began to grow. Amidst the chaos, human pilots like Lyra Kale and her squadron worked with precision. They disabled alien weapon systems, guided allies through ambushes, and ensured that human losses were minimal. Every pilot, every engineer, every technician contributed to the effort. Humanity's greatest strength was not just technology, but teamwork, courage, and determination. The battle reached its climax near the central asteroid belt of Caridon 9. The Zeltari flagship was surrounded by human forces, its weapons misfiring and engines struggling. General Theros realized the mistake too late. "We underestimated them, again," he shouted. Rhea gave the final orders. Hold formation. Do not overextend. Disable the flagship completely. Show them the cost of underestimating humanity. Human fighters and drones moved in unison. Systems were disabled, weapons went offline, and communication channels were cut. The once mighty flagship was rendered immobile. The Zeltari fleet, seeing their command vessel disabled, faltered. Retreat became inevitable. Across the galaxy, observers of the battle watched in awe. A species once thought weak had defeated one of the most powerful fleets in the sector, not by sheer firepower, but by intelligence, courage, and unity. Humanity's reputation soared. In the aftermath, Rhea called and addressed her fleet. Today, we did not just defend our colonies. Today, we showed the galaxy what humanity is capable of. We fought with intelligence, with courage, and with unity. Remember this victory, but know the challenge is not over. Others will test us. Others will doubt us. And we will rise to every challenge. Colonel Joran Voss nodded. They will think twice before attacking us again. The tide has turned. Humanity's place in the galaxy is secure. Back on Solaris Prime, civilians and scientists celebrated quietly. The battle had been won, but every human understood that vigilance was essential. The galaxy was vast and challenges would always arise, yet humanity had proven one undeniable truth. No matter the odds, no matter the enemy, humans could face any threat with courage, intelligence, and unity. And in the depths of space, as the stars shone silently, the Zeltari retreated to rethink their strategy. They had learned the cost of underestimating humans. They had seen the power of a united species, and they had begun to understand that strength alone could not conquer a civilization that fought together, thought quickly, and adapted relentlessly. Humanity had turned the tide, but the war was not over. The galaxy would remember this battle, and every challenge ahead would be measured against the courage and intelligence humans had shown. The stars remained quiet, but humanity's message echoed louder than any weapon. Underestimate us at your peril.